As James from Bolt Bros here, want to talk about this video the NFL brought out talking about the total floor and ceiling for the Chargers season. So let's just go ahead and get into it, guys. Bolt Bros, let's go.
Bolt Bros!
All right, guys. Once again, appreciate all the love and support. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel if you have not. We appreciate all the support and love, and throw some comments below about this video. So let's go ahead and just kind of talk with you a little bit about this, kind of give you the idea of what the NFL brought out here. So this video right here is pretty much talking about the full season idea of positional players within this team, say to the offensive line, to defensive players and such, and kind of players that have left and players that have been added. Did you gain or did you lose a little bit of strength at that position? Plus, it gives you an idea of a total win record and loss record, high and low, basically, for the teams. I thought it was pretty interesting. In this video, obviously, right here, it says over and under right now, 8.5 wins. That's what basically Vegas is pretty much saying, or per Caesars at this point. Now, that seems like it could be well over that. We could win more than 8.5 games, in my opinion. I think we could easily do that. Now, once again, there's a little bit of a biasness for a Chargers fan. We think that we're going to go very far. We're going to get a lot of wins and everything too. And I do fully still feel that's possible. But I do get and understand that there's a lot of missing players that we've now don't have on the team. We don't have Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Austin Eckler. Even to say Gerald Everett is one of the guys that they looked at. Adjustments on the O-line too. A lot of youth on the defense. I totally get it. But I wanted to just talk with you a little bit about one, or actually a couple of the slides that they put within this video. And I'll put a link to this video in our bio too. Talk about kind of the positional players that they said, hey, did you really gain or did you lose with these players leaving? I get it. There's a lot of players out there that you kind of think that, I don't know, might be pretty good to be able to have them there. But let's go ahead and just go into this slide right here. Actually, I'll probably just go back on this right here. So this is basically the offensive side of things. Obviously Justin Herbert's our guy. He's not replacing anybody or anything like that. Gus Edwards is replacing Austin Eckler. Now they're saying it's a push. Austin Eckler is a different type of running back, in my opinion. He's kind of one of those guys that you kind of think, hey, I've always looked at him as like a wide receiver 3. As you know, he catches a lot of balls, does a great job in the flat, does a great job with the ball in his hands. Gus Edwards is a different guy. Now, we also got to throw in J.K. Dobbins, too. J.K. is a kind of a different type of running back, kind of a little bit more of a home run hitter type back for us. Gus Edwards is more the bruiser style back. I do think there's a mixture between these guys. And I feel like as the running back room versus not having Austin Eckler, I think has gotten better all around. Now, I think we have got more of a thunder and lightning type back. You kind of go back to the Michael Turner, LaDainian Tomlinson type years. I think we kind of got a situation like that with Kamani Vidal. Maybe we got a kind of a Darren Sproles type situation. The thing about it is, if you're going to say Gus Edwards is going to be the primary back, which I assume it will be, push to say Austin Eckler and Gus Edwards are the same, but kind of two different animals, in my opinion. Once again, Austin Eckler is more of a pass catcher back. Never been a guy that's got over 1,000 yards rushing. Gus Edwards has the potential to be over 1,000-yard back, but isn't really much of a pass catcher kind of guy. I think you're going to underestimate Gus Edwards, in my opinion. Like last year, he averaged 4.1 yards per carry, 198 attempts at 810 yards total, with 13 touchdowns. Great goal line type back, a guy that will get the touchdown for you at the goal line situation. If you just give or take another 50 carries for Gus Edwards, he will get us over 1,000 yards on the ground. That is massive all around for us. And we haven't had a 1,000-yard back since 2017, going back to Melvin Gordon. It's been a while, guys, and that's one reason why that we got Greg Roman here. Shore up that run game. Make sure that we can run the dang ball. Balance out the offense a bit, too, and I do think Gus Edwards could easily get over 1,000 yards rushing this year. I do think that J.K. Dobbins could be a great complement back. I'm not sure where he'll be, as in how many carries he'll get this year. We'll see. But Komani Vidal could be a phenomenal pickup for us. And we'll see what happens with Isaiah Spiller and Elijah Dotson, too. Now, moving on here, Ladd McConkey, downgrade from Keenan Allen. That's going without being said. Obviously, you lose a guy like Keenan Allen, had a phenomenal season last year. That is definitely a loss. Now you're adding the Ladd McConkey, who essentially is a faster Keenan Allen. I think he could definitely be a very, very solid target for us. And I think he'd have a phenomenal season this year, too. So keep an eye out for Ladd. DJ Chark and Mike Williams, I think they are very, very similar in the sense. I think DJ Chark is a lot faster in a sense. He can be a very, very similar type wide receiver like Mike Williams. Push, I would say, is pretty fair. Now, with the tight end room here with Will Disley, Hayden Hurst, downgrading from Gerald Everett. Thing about Gerald Everett is that he was a very, very high effort kind of guy with the ball in his hands. And you got to love seeing that. I love to be able to keep him here, but the big part of him, I don't feel like he was a physical as a tight end that we would like to have. So there's a downgrade of not having that guy, that extra effort type catch guy with not having Gerald Everett, but we don't have that physical element that we're gaining with Will Disley and Hayden Hurst. I mean, Will Disley is one of the best tight ends in the NFL in blocking. Hayden Hurst has shown out a little bit in OTAs. And I think, to be honest, we'll probably get very similar stats-wise as Gerald Everett's, roughly about 500 to 600 yards for the season from Hayden Hurst, as long as he stays healthy. And personally, I think he's going to stay healthy. Even last year with the Panthers, he only pretty much had a concussion that they could have brought him back, and they basically just told him, hey, like, don't worry about it. Just sit out. Season's over with anyways. Don't need to have you here, kind of thing. So I think that there is elements that we've lost, but I think that there is elements that we've gained to fit Jim Harbaugh's idea and philosophy as the tight end room. So I think it's kind of an interesting one to look at that. Now, moving on to the next position here, they're looking at the O-line. Now, once again, going Bradley Bozeman to Will Clapp. I think this is a push, but I do think that there's an idea that you're gaining a lot more experience with Bozeman. Bozeman had a phenomenal season under Greg Roman when he switched over to center. He was actually a very highly touted center when he was with, Greg Roman as a center. I think he was actually in the 80s, I believe, within his PFF ranking in 2021. He was a 73.6 overall player grade, 1,125 offensive snaps played, 1 penalty, 3 sacks allowed. That's great. And that will be a big, big difference from Will Clapp. I think it's a phenomenal pickup. I think we've gained a lot more with it. We've gained more experience in the center position, and I think that's great. Now, Joe Alt, we'll see where he's going to be at. I think that he's going to be a phenomenal right tackle for us. Trey Pipkins, to see how he is at right guard. I think there is still some ideas of adjustments and changes there too. So we'll see where it kind of goes there, but I hope that's going to be a very cohesive group all around. I think Jamari Sawyer still has a chance to be able to find a way onto this starting O-line. And once again, there's a lot of packages that are 6-man packages too. So I would not be surprised if there's a lot of rotational pieces of adding Jamari somewhere or another in this team with more jumbo-based packages. Now, going to the defensive side of things, this is an interesting one all around. So you think Morgan Fox upgrade versus Sebastian Joseph Day. I feel very strongly about that. If you look at how Michigan has utilized some of theirs, I think it was Mason Graham, I believe is his name. He kind of reminds me of a Morgan Fox kind of guy at Michigan. I think that Morgan Fox is going to be a great, great upgrade for us. No knocking on Bash by any means, but I think the thing is, Morgan Fox has a little bit more juice in his legs all around. Nose tackle is going to be a complete, push at this point. We've obviously had a lot of adjustments and changes in that area. I think it's going to be very fun to be able to see all those players out there with, like, say, a Boygby, if he's going to be there too. If you're going to look at maybe, Otito Bonya, if you're going to look at basically the Soul Taker, that's going to be an interesting one to be able to see how that kind of pans out. So really, bottom line, be physical. Our nose tackle position has not been great since Jamal Williams. It's been kind of a tough situation all around. Obviously, you got Puna Ford there too, who probably will take the starting position, in my opinion. Defensive tackle, we got obviously Austin Johnson is gone. We're still trying to figure out the whole nose tackle, defensive tackle situation. We got guys there. Believe me, we got guys there. I don't know where it's going to be at this point, but that is one of the areas that I for sure would probably agree that we kind of got to figure out a solid person in that position for us. So Puna Ford is going to be out there quite a bit. Otito Obonia, Soul Taker. We got a lot of guys. Justin Boygby. We'll see kind of where it all pans out for the inner part of the defensive line. Obviously, Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack. There's no change there. Now, inside linebacker, they put in Nick Neiman versus Kenneth Murray. Junior Colson, Deion Henley, Nick Neiman, Denzel Perryman. These are all guys that are going to be the inside linebackers for this team, without a doubt. Those are the 4 guys all around for us. Now, once again, we're going to be a kind of a 4-3 type situation. You're probably going to have a lot more linebackers out there, so it's going to be a mix of those 4 plus possibly a 5th. We'll see what happens in the camp battle. Now, the thing is, though, I think it's a bad comparison to say Nick Neiman to Kenneth Murray. I think it's more of like a Deion Henley to Kenneth Murray. You're going to gain with Deion Henley as a pass coverage guy, a guy with a high energy physical element to him. Kenneth Murray kind of was one of those guys that was terrible against the pass. It was always, I hated seeing him in coverage. But you're going to see a lot of change within that group, especially if you get Junior Colson out there too. Junior knows this defense already, so there's going to be that element there too. I'm not going to say he's going to be starter day one. Deion Henley, I think, will probably find his way on there too. Denzel Perryman will find his way on there too. And there's going to be a youth veteran type mix at this point. And you kind of say, hey, is Deion really a veteran? Not necessarily, but he is one of those guys that I think will get a lot more play time. And to be honest, I've really thought Nick Neiman's a very solid linebacker, and I'm excited to be able to see him out there too. With the Denzel Perryman, Eric Kendricks, Denzel is a guy that could really go out there and be a dog. I think it's a very rotational, situational type piece at this point. Eric Kendricks obviously got a lot of tackles, a lot of veteran experience. We definitely lose in that side of things, but I do feel Denzel Perryman is a veteran guy, a guy that has been out there and seen a lot. And I do think that he is one of those guys that could be a great addition to this team and will do very well for us, and a high tackle type guy for us. So I feel very good about our inside linebacker room. I hope that there's going to be one other gem that does kind of show out a little bit for the camp battles. We'll see where that kind of pans out. Now, cornerback room is an interesting one. Asante Samuel Jr., starter. Christian Fulton pushed to Michael Davis. Christian Fulton really didn't have the best in the video. It actually even pointed out the passer rating was not very good last year. It's like 110 or something, or 118, I think what they put on there. It's going to be interesting to see where this goes. Now, this is the whole thing about Christian Fulton. He hasn't had a healthy season in a while. This is where the whole idea of the Ben Herbert side of things comes in play. You'd hope that you're going to be able to get him to be healthy, make sure that he's going to be a lot more flexible, bend, don't break type player. But from Christian Fulton, where are you going to go from there? Are you going to go to Cam? Are you going to go to Jasur in the slot or in the cornerback, take him out of slot, and then you're going to put in another player there? Are you going to adjust things all around there? My hopes is that we kind of do go after another cornerback. We would love to be able to find one of those guys that could be a good gap filler, veteran experience kind of cornerback situation, just as kind of a contingency plan. I hope that we kind of do that, but we'll see where it kind of pans out. Maybe we got Christian Fulton. He's going to be a dog for us. And we signed him. It was one of the earlier signings for us too. So we were very, very high on him in coming over here. Now, Michael Davis is kind of one of those guys that's been up and down for us. He's had phenomenal seasons, and then he has terrible seasons. Based upon his record in the last 3 years, it's always been good season, bad season, good season, bad season. Essentially, it's been a bad season for him last year. Now he's with the Commanders. We'll see where he pans out there. He gave up a lot of big plays and became not as physical and kind of had mental, lapses every now and then. I love Michael Davis. I love Vato. He was an awesome player, but I'm excited to be able to see what Christian Fulton can do. I think that Christian Fulton has been a very good cornerback. Issue is staying healthy, which I could understand why we kind of have these win-loss predictions being kind of a little all over the place here. Now, they basically gave us a floor of 8 and 9. Some ways I could say, okay, I could get it. I get it. 8 and 9, I could see that. In some ways, reason being is, some of the players that we've chatted about, a lot of adjustments that we made with this team. You think new coaching, new schemes, injury issues, Hayden Hurst to J.K. Dobbins to Christian Fulton to, a lot of guys that are like 1 year prove it type deal situations in critical positions. If everything goes well, I do think it could be much higher. If things kind of crumble, possibly 8 and 9 is a chance. Now, I don't think that we will be 8 and 9. I think that we would do have a higher ability on this team based upon having the X factor, John Harbaugh, or excuse me, Jim Harbaugh. Having Jim Harbaugh on this team is going to be massive. Once again, he is one of those coaches that will make sure that you get the best players on field. You will be ready to play every single down out there. You will create physicality. Creating pressure is going to be a massive thing. I think our key group is going to be our edges on this team, making sure the defense could just be better all around in the back end of the defense, create pressure, cause chaos up front so the offense can't score on us and create turnovers for our offense to capitalize on and score. So I think 8 and 9 is an interesting idea. Obviously, Vegas has us at 8.5. That just kind of fits perfectly for that side. Now, moving on, ceiling 12-5, and I think that's what a lot of these fans out there, and even to say myself, I feel 12-5 is very, very doable for this team. I think we have the ability to do that as long as everything goes fine, everything goes well, people stay healthy, and we end up going out there just playing out of our minds. 12-5 is a chance where we could even find a way to win the division too. I do think that there's kind of a midpoint where I feel like 10 wins is probably the right idea in my opinion, but I do think 12-5 is doable. There's a lot of teams out there, even in this video, they pointed out that we're going to lose against the Cardinals. I just don't see that happening, guys. I live in Arizona. There's not a lot of ton of hype about the Cardinals at this point, and I don't know why there should be this hype about the Cardinals. I understand Kyler Murray's back and everything too. Cool, I get it. He's kind of trying to prove himself and everything. I just don't see that happening. I do feel that we're going to be a team that's going to find a way to close out games a little bit more and shock some people early on in the season in the first 4 blocks of games coming up this season. So I wanted to be able to hear a little bit from you guys on this. And I'm going to put this video in the description, and I want to hear from you on your thoughts on this video. And check out the video and see what your thoughts are. I'd love to be able to hear your ideas of this ceiling and even positional battles of kind of where and what we've added to this team, if it's going to be better for us or worse for us, push or not push on, running backs to wide receivers and such too. I get it. There's a lot of change on this team. There's a lot of adjustment all around. This could be kind of a building year for the next year kind of thing. But I do feel very, very strongly this season is going to be phenomenal. And it's going to be a very, very good season for us all around. It's going to show who Justin Herbert really is. It's going to show balance to this offense. We're going to have a very, very strong defense all around. So I want to hear from you guys. So throw your comments below and let me know what your thoughts is on this season and specifically this video that I pointed out to you guys that the NFL released on the floor and ceiling for the Chargers for 2024. So once again, guys, appreciate all the love and support. Please like this video, subscribe to this channel if you have not. Very much appreciate all your support. And once again, James from Bolt Bros. Let's go.